Eli Manning and rookie Daniel Jones walking into Friday's preseason game together. The two were wearing matching outfits, and it didn't stop there. During the game, Eli and Jones were caught in sync once again. Guys, did the Giants draft an Eli Manning clone?
It kind of looks like it, although I will say Daniel Jones looks like the Eli Manning from a decade ago because the kid can spin it. I mean, there were a couple of big-time throws he had in that preseason game Friday night against the Bears. A lot of high hopes for Daniel Jones after getting off to a rocky start. A lot of Giants fans weren't excited that they took him with the 6th overall pick, but things are trending in the right direction for the young fella.
He's looking very good, very good. And look, it'd be great if he's an Eli clone. Maybe better in the regular season, but certainly if he can do that in the playoffs, what Eli's done, I love it.
No doubt.
Good stuff. All right, time for some stories to start your morning. Sponsored by Gillette Clear Gel. The Lakers are looking for a replacement at center after Boogie Cousins tore his ACL last week. The team has been granted permission to speak with Dwight Howard, who's currently on the Grizzlies. Chris Broussard, is this a good fit?
I was texting with an executive from one of the teams Dwight played for recently, last few years, and actually put up good numbers for him. And this executive said, no way. He said it's a bad move. Now, I respect this executive greatly, but I don't think it's a bad move. You get him for the vet minimum. There's low risk, potentially good reward. I think it's like a Carmelo in Houston situation where if he comes in and he acts up or he doesn't fit in for whatever reason, you just get rid of him and cut your losses. But if he comes in and he's a good soldier, he's been humbled, he listens to LeBron and the guys, he's still a rim protector and a great
rebounder. Give you a double-double.
So, yeah, and he's a big body.
Yeah, what that comes down to is him understanding his role. If he comes in with that same attitude he had in his first tour of duty with the Lakers, it's not going to work.
Right.
Yeah.
And you just let him go.
Yeah.
And that's a very different Dwight Howard at this point. On to the NFL. Ezekiel Elliott has been in Cabo for most of his training camp holdout until now. Zeke was reportedly spotted on a flight to Dallas. So, Chris Clancy, do you think a deal gets done before the season?
Yeah, we were just talking about this. I think a deal gets done because Jerry Jones desperately wants to have a winner. Let's face it, he's in the 4th quarter. He wants to have another championship before he's all said and done down there in Dallas. So, yeah, I think this deal gets done.
Now, Clarence Hill, we were talking about him earlier from Fort Worth Star-Telegram. He reported that sources have told him Zeke is expected to go back to Cabo pretty soon. So I don't know what if he had to get some new clothes or whatever. But I'm with you, Chris. I hope it gets done. But like I said, if I'm Jerry Jones, I would go into the season and see how we look without Zeke before I ponied up the biggest contract in the league for a running back. And if I have to at the end of the day, I'll do it.
Rolling the dice. Andrew Luck has been a limited participant in training camp for the Colts this season because of what was reportedly a calf issue. And now the team has also said he has an ankle injury. He looked like he was good during workouts before the Colts preseason game on Saturday. So, Canty, are you concerned about Luck being ready for the regular season?
Yeah, I'm concerned a little bit just because we're talking about an injury that happened in April, and now we're at the end of August, a few weeks away from the regular season. So, yeah, I'm concerned because I know how important Andrew Luck is to that Colts team. That being said, his backup looked damn good on Saturday in Jacoby Brissett. I mean, he's a guy that has experience. I mean, that touchdown that he threw to Eric Ebron, great touch on that ball on that 7 route in the corner of the end zone. So they have a capable backup, but Jacoby Brissett ain't going to take them to where they want to go. They need Andrew Luck.
The fact that people are excited about that, the fact that he could dance around that, whatever that is, that pylon, that has me concerned. Like you said, it's been 6 months. And first it was the calf, now it's the ankle. We know his injury history. Yeah, I'm concerned. I hate to say it. I get it in the regular season. You play through some pain that you wouldn't in the preseason, so I understand that. But with his history, I'm very concerned if I'm the Indianapolis Colts.
Antonio Brown had reportedly found a version of the only helmet he has worn in his NFL career that he believed he could wear. However, the league rejected the new helmet because it did not pass safety certification. So he left training camp after the news. Raiders GM Mike Mayock said it's time for AB to be all in or all out. His agent Drew Rosenhaus responded to those comments.
We've worked very closely with the Raiders, and we will continue to work very closely with the Raiders. I'm not sure that we agree that we've exhausted all the options, as Mike Mayock said, but there's no doubt it's still an ongoing process. We are trying to work with the team and the league and the union to come up with a solution. We haven't figured it out yet. To say that AB is upset about the decision to not let him wear his helmet is accurate, but we're still processing it and figuring it out. I wouldn't make too much about him not being there today as much as we're still trying to come up with the solution that works for everyone.
CB, has AB taken this too far?
Yes. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is childish. I'm not a football player. I didn't wear a helmet, but I mean, there actually been tests done. Peter King from NBC Sports did some tests, and the new helmets, some of them have a better vision than the old one that AB wants to wear. 2,000 players in the NFL, or more than that, they've all accepted the helmet changes. Why can't AB? This is just childish and ridiculous. And I do think it's a big deal that he wasn't at practice. As you can understand, it'd be nice if he was even there, even if he didn't practice, right? Just show that you're still with the guys. Hey, I'm still trying to get this helmet situation worked out, but I'm here, I'm all in. The other reports are bothering me too about being late to meetings, you know, being engaged with your phone or your laptop while you're in the meeting and not really engaged in what's going on.
Yeah, that's a problem for me, right? Because everybody else is at training camp, they're busting their tails, and we get that you can't practice because you got the issue with your feet, but you can still be there. You can still be present. That goes a long way in terms of establishing yourself as a leader because, like it or not, based on what the Raiders decided to pay him in a contract extension, he is in a leadership position. Money talks in the locker room. It just does. And so when you're talking about a relatively young group of players, it would help them if Antonio Brown was there. But, yeah, I would completely disagree with what Drew Rosenhaus said in terms of not making a big deal that he's not in the building.
Antonio Brown, I mean, really over the last decade has been one of the great receivers. You probably look in NFL history. At what point do a lot of these antics or issues start to affect his legacy and what we think of him and his performance on the field?
Well, the numbers don't lie. He's been the most productive receiver over a 6-year span that we've ever seen. I mean, we just haven't seen anybody at this level. Over 100 balls, over 1,000 yards, and you're talking about anywhere from 12 to 15 touchdowns. You can book it. But I think that's why the Oakland Raiders decided they were going to trade for him, because there isn't a question in terms of the productivity you're getting from Antonio Brown. I think they're trying to answer the question on whether or not they got a quarterback. So that remains to be seen. I still think we got a little time before the regular season kicks off. They mend fences. Antonio Brown ends up coming back to the Oakland Raiders because the reality is he has no choice. If he wants to get paid, he's got to come back and play for the Raiders.
Well, look, no matter how great he is, and he is truly great, we've seen this affect other receivers. Randy Moss, you know, who's rebounded and bounced back from that. Terrell Owens, you know, with the whole Hall of Fame situation, that certainly had nothing to do with his play, but it was a perception of him being a troubled guy in the locker room and stuff. So I do think this could hinder Antonio's legacy.
Well, whether he comes back or he doesn't, I don't think that changes. The fact that he was willing to leave an organization that competes for a championship year in, year out, that tells you what it's about for Antonio Brown. It's not about team success. It's about individual success and about him branding himself. So I think in terms of his overall legacy and what people will remember him as, I don't think anybody's going to remember him as a team-first guy, whether he comes back soon or not.
All right, well, on to the Patriots, and big news for Tom Brady over the weekend. Josh Gordon, who played in 10 games with New England last season and had been suspended indefinitely for another violation of the NFL substance abuse policy, was reinstated by the league and is eligible to play Week 1. So, Canty, does Gordon's reinstatement calm all concerns for the Pats receiving corps?
Well, it doesn't calm all concerns, but I'm sure it alleviates it to a degree. They've got a couple of receivers right now that are banged up in training camp. Probably most notably Philip Dorsett, their first-round draft pick, N'Keal Harry, has missed some time. So, I mean, having Josh Gordon in the fold definitely helps, because when you look at it, you got Tom Brady this week in joint practices with the Titans throwing the guys that are undrafted. Right. So, I mean, you're going to have some weapons. I understand that we're talking about the greatest quarterback of all time, but he can't throw it and catch it himself. So, I mean, you know, you're going to have Julian Edelman. You know he's a constant. But beyond that, you really don't know what you're getting from the rest of those guys in the receiving corps. We thought coming into this year that Bill Belichick is going to have to lean on some of those guys in the backfield, Sony Michel and James White as receivers. But having Josh Gordon out there, I mean, if he gets back to the form that we know he's capable of, the things that he flashed last year in his first season with the Patriots, then, I mean, look out, because all of a sudden you're talking about a dynamic group of receivers that Tom Brady has to work with.
Yeah, look, if Gordon stays out of trouble, if you will, and we all certainly hope he does, and I do tend to think this time with all the support there, I think he'll make it. You know, but if you're the Patriots, you have to still be concerned. You can't be 100% sure that this guy's going to be with you all season. But assuming he is, assuming N'Keal Harry is healthy, which you know, I think he will be, and I love him. I think he's tremendous. If Edelman's healthy, you mentioned some of the running backs. I'm not that concerned if they're healthy about the receiving core, because now a Demaryius Thomas, when he gets back from the Achilles rehab, a Philip Dorsett, those guys are your fourth and fifth receivers now. And so we've seen Tom Brady do a lot with very little in terms of receivers. I think if these guys are healthy and Gordon stays out of trouble, I think their receiving core is going to be tough. Now, tight end is a question. Obviously, they've relied on their tight end position a lot in their receiving game in the Brady era. But on the outside with the receivers and the slot,